Story. The multi-party coalition in the City of Johannesburg has given an update on last week's chaotic sitting. It's blaming the ANC and the EFF for the disruption. We saw the mayhem ensuing over secret ballots to elect committee chairs. My colleague, Senior Reporter Siphamandla Goge, following that story, joining us now live. Siphamandla, good afternoon. What are the coalition partners saying about last week's chaos and tomorrow's crucial meeting?
They are disappointed based on what transpired inside this council chamber last week, but they are saying they are hopeful that tomorrow things will be different. It's interesting that we are having that conversation with the MMC responsible for transport here in Johannesburg, and at the center of the chaos that we saw ensuing here last week was the issue of the crucial committees that are going to perform and play that oversight role when it comes to the executive. Now, they were unable to elect those chairpersons of various committees and the chair of chairs simply because there was disagreement between the ANC, which was in alliance with the EFF. They wanted that to happen in a secret ballot. Others wanted that to happen in a show of hands. They are saying, well, there is nothing new and unusual when it comes to voting for those positions, that the voting process is undertaken or done in a show of hands. But last week there was a chaos. The meeting was meant to start at 10. All the way to 5 p.m. there was a stalemate. It ended up collapsing. Now the coalition partners here, led by the DA, which comprises, of course, of Action SA, ACDP, as well as COPE, they are all saying, well, what happened last week was the ANC and the EFF tactics of delaying and collapsing the meeting because they realized that they didn't have the numbers to vote for their own candidates to take over those powerful positions of chairpersons of various committees here. So they are now hopeful that tomorrow, when the meeting is meant to resume, there will be no chaos. However, it's all dependent on what transpires tomorrow. Let's take a listen to one of their coalition partners here, calling on the ANC and the EFF to basically ensure that they work for the people, they prioritize the electorate.
So I make an appeal to them today. Think of the people that we represent. Think of the suffering of our people. Think of the challenges. Because as a coalition government, we want to go out there and hit the ground running. We want to begin to alleviate and change the plight and economic and material conditions of our people.
Now, there are calls, as Siphamandla understand, for the President, Matamela Ramaphosa, to intervene by addressing ANC members in the City of Johannesburg. Who's making this call and why?
Well, it's coalition partners, particularly the Freedom Front Plus. They are saying, well, it's time for President Cyril Ramaphosa to address his party's members because they are the ones who've been accused of disrupting and collapsing the council meeting. The leader of the Freedom Front Plus saying Cyril Ramaphosa has been talking about transparency, has been talking about all parties coming together to ensure that democracy is practiced. And he says now is the time for the president to address his members, ask them to accept the outcome of the local government elections, accept that they are no longer in charge, and they must play their part in opposition benches and do not disrupt this. He says if the president does not do that, he will be what he calls, quote unquote, a hypocrite. Let's take a listen.
The governing party that is not willing to hand over power and respect it. And it is so ironically that the president in his weekly paper or message is appealing to the people of South Africa and everyone to uphold, to protect and preserve the constitutional democracy of South Africa. But his own members in the City of Council, they don't do that. And I appeal this day today to the Honourable President Cyril Ramaphosa that he must intervene immediately before tomorrow and ensure that their members respect the democracy. And if he doesn't do that, he's nothing else than a hypocrite.
Now, Siphamandla, why do these highly contested chair positions matter that much?
It's all about power, but the gist of it really is that they are very instrumental and crucial when it comes to what we call oversight, to ensure that they hold the executive to account. Without these committees, or without the chairpersons of these committees, various committees that we are talking about, be it transport, electricity, water, sanitation, human settlements or housing, you need those chairpersons to ensure that they exercise oversight. Look at it like this, you will have the executive here and you will have these key and strategic committees that need to play their oversight role here to ensure that whatever the executive is doing, they are held into account by these committees. And these positions are powerful because they are about, power, but also the gist of it really is to exercise oversight role. Let's take a listen to one of the coalition partners unpacking why do these positions matter.
What happens is that your chair positions are very powerful positions. We have seen, for example, now the call to the eNCA chair by a member of parliament to call the president to come and give account. And similarly, you have the powers of your chairpersons is really far-reaching in terms of oversight, and can have even the mayor summoned before them, as well as heads of departments, and ask for reports. So it's a very, very powerful and influential oversight body as such.
Action SA's John Moody ending that report by eNCA Senior Reporter Siphamandla Goge from inside the Joburg Metro Council's chambers. Now,